Hi, I'm Alison Page, Tyngsborough's Recreation Director.
Alison, thanks so much for joining us on Entering Tyngsborough. So, tell us about the annual Tyngsborough Block Party. You've been doing it for a few years now. This is the 6th annual or 7th?
This is number 6.
And what's on tap for this year?
We've got a lot on tap for this year, actually. So currently we have 153 vendors who are crafters or direct sales vendors. We have 150 plus booths to visit. We have 3 headliner bands coming in. They start at 11 o'clock. Each plays for an hour and a half. We're ending the day with a Bob Seger tribute band who are excellent, and we have a great middle of the day band who I'm very excited to see because they kind of mash up some songs. So I'm excited to see how they produce their show. And then earlier in the day, we have a 1990s band. So that should be a lot of fun.
And so anything else that's new this year that people might want to, that's going to be different from in the years past?
We have a new area, which is up towards the fire station this year, which we're calling a challenge zone. So we have a giant climbing wall. We have a bungee jump. We have our shark that comes in, the rideable shark. The X throwing, we have an obstacle course with the Air Force. So that's something new.
So, Alison, tell us, how did the block party or the party by the bridge become what it is today? How did this idea kind of spun off? Because you typically do the Festival of Trees, which has grown to what it is over the last decade or so. How did the block party come about?
The block party was a June idea of Steve Fugazzotto, who's one of our members on the Recreation Committee, and myself. We talked about it, and we were going to do a food truck event, and that's how it started. We literally thought and did all of this work in June to put on an August event. So we got the first time we did an event, when we had music as well, done in 2 months. Now we start in January for an August event. So it's changed quite a bit.
And so what's the work that's involved in getting this event together? I mean, you have 160 vendors, a ton of food trucks. I mean, it's not something that kind of is done. You say you start in January. I mean, even in years past, even afterwards, you guys are already planning after the event is done. What's the process like to start an event like this?
So I'm lucky and fortunate to have a group of people who are very invested in this particular event. So they kind of take their lane and run with it. So if we have a person who is in charge of the bands, comes back, brings us lots of selections for bands, and then the committee decides on which ones we think would be great for the year. The vendors are something that we open up in usually April. They can come in. We have a volunteer person who comes in and is coordinating the volunteer efforts that make this possible for us. And that's number one. We can't do it without the volunteers, and the coordinating of such is key. So we have another volunteer who takes care of that. We have a sponsorship volunteer. We are just good with who not I have in place, but who the Recreation Committee has in place that handles all of their genre for whatever is happening. And then we work together great. So it certainly makes things much easier.
And this year, you actually put out a call to action or call for volunteers. How is that going at this time of taping? We're about a week or so away. This podcast will air the week of the block party. How are you guys doing on volunteers?
We're getting there. We need about 20 more volunteers, but we're doing much better. And as I had said, it's 100% dependent on volunteers. We've just grown so much that there's lots of things that perhaps the general public doesn't think about that we need volunteers for to keep the party running all day long, 11 to 8 o'clock, 8:30ish. So it's a long day. So we're getting there. People have stepped up. We're usually pretty good. Tyngsborough kind of rises to the occasion usually.
And if people wanted to volunteer, how can they get in touch with the recreation department?
It's right on our website. So it's partybythebridge.com. All of the information about the event is on there, as well as if you want to be a volunteer.
And so one of the things that is also new this year is an admission fee. Can you talk more about that and what the fee goes, where is the fee going to?
Sure. Kind of a hard decision for us to decide to do this. It's just, again, gotten to the point where the event is so large, the 5 people who put it on can't do it anymore. We have to hire out. And when we don't get volunteers for things, again, we have to hire out. So there's just a lot of logistics that you don't see, but we do behind the scenes. It's just to cover basic costs as far as the buses that run, the people who are in the parking lots, parking cars, just general things like that you probably normally wouldn't think of. So again, not an easy decision. We'll see how it goes this year. We were hoping that people would support the $5 entry fee so we could keep this particular event running as we know it, if not better, or to scale back and not have 3 bands, not have fireworks, not have large vendors. So the decision was to test the waters. Let's see how the community accepts the admission fee to keep this going as we all know it.
And lastly, Alison, what does this event mean to you? As the department head of the recreation department, and you're a Tyngsborough resident. I mean, this is kind of like your main event, your Super Bowl is saying. What does this event mean to you?
I think this is probably, it's our number one event. Festival of Trees is right up there as well, but this is a single day event. We don't get multiple days to show what we can do. It's a single day event. We're all in for one day. And I think that the town should be thrilled that we have 5 other residents in town who are so invested in this that we spend hours working on this particular event. So I think Tyngsborough kind of put it on the map. I think it's great.
Alison Page, Recreation Director for Tyngsborough, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And the Tyngsborough Block Party by the Bridge is on Saturday, August 24th from 11 p.m. to dusk, and visit partybythebridge.com for more information. And that is all the time that we have today on the Entering Tyngsborough podcast. If you want to learn more about your town's government, visit the Town of Tyngsborough's website at tyngsboroughma.gov. I'm Ronnie Camille. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, be well.